pregnant, so proud of offering her father and me our first grandchild. "Wouldn't Dad love a grandson?" she had asked. Her dad had a trio of older sisters and a duet of daughters. Of course he would love a grandson. And then there were the kittens. Even as a toddler barely able to talk, Anna had adored kittens. A few months before Black Sunday, when Anna was having her latest go at a detox program, she needed a place to live. She met a guy at the program who told her about an older man called Johnny who lived in a big house in the northern suburbs. Johnny slept in the lounge room and rented out his bedrooms, no deposit or references required. Anna moved in, amid the clutter and the collection of men who, like her, needed shelter. Anna was delighted to discover several cats in residence. She adopted the tamest one, a sweet tortoiseshell she called Chi-Chi. I was grateful to Chi-Chi for producing 5 babies, 5 thoroughly enchanting reasons for my daughter to keep living a little longer. "Miss Pershall?" The police officer who'd left the voice message had come on the line. "We have your daughter in custody." "What? Why?" The previous summer, her brain marinated in ice. Anna's behavior had escalated to the point where her long-suffering dad put his foot down and said that she could no longer live at home. And I had been vastly relieved. When she was growing up, if someone had told me I'd be relieved to have our daughter barred from our home, I wouldn't have believed them. But then, how could I have imagined the exhaustion, heartbreak, and fear that would drive us to that decision? Anna had calmed down a lot since we made that difficult choice. She swore she wasn't doing ice. She so wanted to have a healthy baby that she was hardly even drinking, only smoking a little weed to help with her persistent morning sickness. "What's she done?" I asked the police officer. I couldn't imagine her even shoplifting, as she spent most of her time these days pinned to the bed with nausea, her kittens in her arms. The officer hesitated. "Are you close with your daughter?" "Yes." I'd seen her 2 days before, when I had driven to Johnny's house at 8:30 a.m. to take her to her antenatal appointment at the Northern Hospital. She looked terrible and had been throwing up so much she couldn't even keep down water. I'd insisted that the hospital admit her for a few hours and put her on a drip. "You realize she was living with some older men?" The officer inquired. "Yes." "You know the elderly gentleman there?" "Well, come to think of it, you would call Johnny a gentleman. He was a big Macedonian who spoke broken English at top volume, and he always made me feel more than welcome in his home. 'Anna, mama!' he would boom when I arrived. 'You good, mama. You the best, mama.' He wasn't actually ancient. I thought he might be in his late 60s, making him only a few years older than me. But he was so crippled by arthritis that he couldn't really walk. He could only shuffle a few steps with the aid of 2 sticks and plenty of painkillers. He spent his days on a chair in his kitchen, and he was always surrounded by friends. Some of them lived in the house, while others were regular visitors. They interrupted each other with gusto in a variety of languages as they drank glass after glass of white wine from a cask perched on the edge of the kitchen table. If I stepped into the kitchen, Johnny would order one of the younger men to vacate their chair. "Anna, mama, you sit. You want drink? Have drink." He would tell me what a fine job I had done raising Anna. At least 100 times he had said to me, "She good girl. She like my daughter. I call her Dottie." "Unfortunately," the police officer informed me, "there's been an assault involving your daughter. The elderly man has passed away." I'd heard of people feeling like they were outside themselves, watching a terrible event unfold as if to another person, and now I know that phenomenon is real. I could hear someone screaming, moaning "no" over and over again. I'd wandered from the garden into the house by then, and I was sitting on the edge of our bed. John appeared at the door.